Number 15. The hum. The hum has been heard in a number of locales, including Taos, Auckland, and Windsor. It consists of a constant low-frequency rumbling noise similar to an idling diesel engine. There is a recording and other audio reproductions of the hum available on the internet, but there is yet to be an adequate answer as to what produced the sound. A number of people in these locales have claimed to have heard the noise, and media in both the US and UK have reported on this phenomenon. However, the sound is heard differently by everyone. People report the noise differently, with some saying vibrations accompany the humming sound, and some claiming that wearing earplugs doesn't reduce the noise. Studies have been undertaken to discern whether those who have heard the noise have any commonalities. The 2% of people who could hear the Taos hum heard it at frequencies ranging between 32 and 80 Hz, and male to female hearers were fairly equal, with middle-aged individuals hearing it most often. So does the hum actually exist or not? If it does, who or what is the source of the noise? Whatever it is, the phenomenon is so disturbing that the incessant sound has been said to contribute to 3 suicides in the UK. Number 14. The Shrieking in Forest Grove. On February 2016, a horrifying shrill sound screeched its way into the ears of Forest Grove residents in Oregon. The nocturnal noise was captured in an audio file by audio expert Tobin Cooley, who then used a sound meter to measure the shrieking pitch. As reported by local news, KATU, Cooley deemed the case highly unusual, saying, "It sounds like some sort of pressurized gas or air through a fitting or valve or something. It's not steady state, and you can't predict when it's gonna happen." Those are all interesting sound features. These interesting sound features last anywhere from a dozen seconds to minutes. Not only did the mysterious sound, which some have described as a mechanical scream, keep people up at night, but it also set dog and cat hair on end across the county. The recurring noise was so nightmarish that it made national news, covered by ABC News and the Washington Post. Everyone from the Oregon's town fire department to the police to public officials have been contacted about the unsettling sound, but after conducting an investigation into the matter, the fire department concluded that residents' safety wasn't in jeopardy, although the source of the noise was still unknown. This didn't keep residents from taking wild stabs at what was making the noise. Some believe a gas line was in urgent need of mending, others thought it was a water main, and some others claim the high-pitched shriek was the eerie audio of a ghost train or even a ghost itself. From the town's Pacific University, whose night and Vera halls are said to be haunted, natural or supernatural, the noise isn't letting up. Number 13. Wichita Boom. A mysterious explosion was caught near Wichita, Oklahoma. Security cameras set up by Ken Swarm at his Wichita home recorded the sudden sound at 1:00 p.m.
Just came outside, heard this loud boom in the house, and the tornado siren started going off. Don't know what's going on. Wow, that was loud.
Swarm noted, "It's the only audible sound for 30 minutes that I could hear during that time frame." While Swarm and others in the area didn't hear the sound at that time, the great big boom shook homes and frightened the bejesus out of livestock across South Wichita. Folks called 911 to report the startling noise, which some claim sounded like a sonic boom, but the source remains unexplained. No power outages, earthquakes, or other incidents occurred at that time, and there have been no physical signs of damage.
Wow, that was loud. Wow, that was loud.
McConnell Air Force Base is situated nearby, but they said nothing they did on base that day could explain the sound, neither did they hear it. So what could have created the explosive noise? And why were some folks deaf to it? It's a witchy Wichita mystery. Number 12. Disappearing pilot. In 1978, a 20-year-old pilot named Frederick Valentik disappeared mysteriously off the Victorian coast, never to be heard from again. The strange thing is, right before he vanished into thin air, he was describing an unexplained sighting to Melbourne Air Traffic Control, an alleged UFO.
Melbourne, this is Delta Sierra Juliet. Is there any known traffic below 5,000 feet? No known traffic. Seems to be a large aircraft below 5,000 feet. What type of aircraft is it? I cannot confirm. It's for bright.
The transmission with air traffic control lasted 7 minutes and ended in a strange metallic clanging noise. Although the coastline was searched for Valentik's aircraft wreckage, very little on the matter had been publicly released since the crash. Apart from a transcript of the recorded audio file, the government claimed the remainder of Valentik's file was destroyed or lost. But years later, it's been uncovered, and surprisingly, it suggests the aircraft wreckage was, in fact, found in 1983 with partial serial numbers intact. In a record of the transmission, Valentik says, "It seems to me that he's playing some sort of game. He's flying over me 2-3 times at a time at speeds I could not identify. What I am doing right now is orbiting, and the thing is just orbiting on top of me. Also, it has a green light and sort of metallic. It's shiny on the outside."
The aircraft has just passed over me at least 1,000 feet above. Is there any Air Force aircraft in the vicinity? No known aircraft in the vicinity. Seems to be playing some sort of game. He's flying over me.
Some had previously suggested that the disappearance was staged, but the aircraft wreckage was discovered in range of Valentik's disappearance. The 315-page file also reveals that the defense minister was asked by the transport department head to launch an investigation into the matter. The file also notes that a great many meteorite and UFO sightings occurred on the same night of Valentik's disappearance.
It's not an aircraft. Can you describe the aircraft? I cannot identify it. It has such speed. It's just vanished. Is the aircraft still with you? Now approaching from the southwest.
So what does this mysterious audio file tell us? Was the pilot taken up by a UFO or knocked out of the air by a meteorite? Unfortunately, we'll never know for sure.
That strange aircraft hovering on top of me again. It's hovering and it's not an aircraft.
Number 11, the old tape. Classical music over radio airwaves sure doesn't sound too mysterious on paper, but when you give this random audio file a listen, you might find the cryptic recording a bit more chilling than you'd anticipated. The recording is said to have come from a radio station in the mid-90s. According to the post on the X Paranormal boards, the original anonymous source of the recording explains that when he was around 15 years old, he would stay up late into the night listening to radio stations on his boombox. In order to record interesting songs, using an integrated tape recorder, he'd randomly dial to various stations and then record whenever he felt like it. This unsettling, mysterious audio file starts off with classical music, but crackles and fades into shrill shrieks, chants, whispers, and odd clanging noises that sound like bells. Names and dates can be heard being recited. Some speculate that these are the names of the 1988 Pan Am bombing victims of Flight 103. This theory has never been confirmed, however.
1988, John Burns, son of John Senior Merrill, brother Captain Chris, at the front of December 21st, 1988, Barry Valentino, son of Barry Senior Jean, brother Scott Mark and Lisa Ann's friend, my friend. February 1985, Frank Oppenheimer, brother Robert, husband of Jackie Emily, father Michael, our friend.
The poster who recorded the audio explains where and how it originated. One night I came across this. I don't think this was the beginning of the broadcast, but I caught a lot of it. An announcer says the station I was tuned into was WKCR 89.9 New York. There are a lot of names and dates in there, but I've never run into anything else like this. According to WKCR FM's website, the station was given its license in 1941, is a student-run station for Columbia University, and is dedicated to presenting a spectrum of alternative programming, traditional and art music, spoken arts, and original journalism. Could this alternative programming and spoken arts include an attempt at creeping the crap out of anyone who had just happened to tune in at this moment in time? We can only guess. Number 10, Canadian audio, eh? The Arctic is a mysterious place, so it's no wonder that mysterious sounds are heard there. In Igulik, Nunavut, a hum or ping has been heard by hunters, and it seems to be sounding from the ocean floor. The strange noises sending wildlife running for the hills. Prior to the mysterious sound, the land was full of animals. Now it's empty. The CBC states that there are several theories floating around about the mysterious audio source, that the cause is a nearby mining company, while others claim that a saboteur for Greenpeace is the source. Both deny any involvement. The Department of National Defense was called upon to investigate the matter. The department put out a statement saying they'd been informed of the strange noises emanating in the Fury and Helka Straits area, and the Canadian Armed Forces are taking the appropriate steps to actively investigate the situation. Unfortunately, the investigation turned up nothing. According to a department spokesperson, the aircrew performed various multi-sensor searches in the area, including an acoustic search for 1.5 hours, without detecting any acoustic anomalies. The crew did not detect any surface or subsurface contacts. This means hunters in Igulik have no choice but to twiddle their thumbs until the sound can be sourced and shut down. Only then can they get back to the job of hunting wild game if it returns. Number 9. Space Jam of Apollo 10. In 1969, the Apollo 10 mission swung around the far side of the moon. That's when things started to get a bit spacey. Declassified transcripts of the Apollo mission note that the astronauts on board heard mysterious outer space type melodies floating through the stars. The Science Channel episode entitled NASA's Unexplained Files discusses the spine-tingling music. Eugene Cernan, John Young, and Thomas Stafford were members of the Apollo mission, which was completed 2 months prior to the man first landing on the moon in Apollo 11. As the crew explained, when the radio contact ceased, they start to hear spooky noises through the radio module, which went on for nearly an hour.
Here's one Jack marked that he wants. I'll get it for him.
The music even sounds outer spacey, doesn't it? One of the men declared in the mission's transcript, "You hear that whistling sound." Another astronaut responded, "Sounds like, you know, outer space type music." The astronauts debated about reporting the sounds to mission control, but once the mission had landed safely in the Pacific, the transcripts and recordings were classified. For dozens of years, the mysterious audio and the crew's discretion about it was shoved out of sight in NASA's archives, with the idea that withholding this information from the public was in the public's best interests. According to L. Warden, Apollo 15 command module pilot, the audio is believed to be the result of atmospheric interference or the spaceship's radio interference, but the source hasn't been nailed down. Although Warden tells Science Channel, logic tells me that if there was something recorded on there, then there was something there. We'll likely never know what caused the cryptic audio, because the Apollo 10 crew remains mum on the matter.
Okay, 40 minutes, babe. I gotta connect acid batteries.
Number 8. The Bloop. This mysterious underwater sound, termed the Bloop, was detected in 1977 by the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the NOAA. The strong low-frequency noise remains unexplained, but that doesn't mean scientists and the layman haven't tried to explain it. Scientists believe the sound could be one of many things: large marine life, an iceberg making contact with the ocean floor, or a large iceberg's ice quake. The sound was detected multiple times in a remote area west of South America's southern tip in the Pacific Ocean. The Equatorial Pacific Ocean Anonymous Hydrophone Array is used to monitor underwater ice noise, mammal population and migration, and seismic activity. The NOAA described the mysterious audio as rising rapidly in frequency over about 1 minute and was sufficient amplitude to be heard on multiple sensors at a range of over 5,000 kilometers or 3,000 miles. The NOAA doesn't believe the sound was caused by a bomb or submarine, or was man-made to any degree, but it's also not in line with an earthquake, volcano, or other geological event. Moreover, although they considered the sound to most likely belong to marine life, the audio was unfamiliar and much louder than any previously recorded audio from underwater creatures, including that of the blue whale, which is the loudest animal ever recorded. Journalist David Woolman said of the matter, "Bloop was detected by sensors up to 4,800 kilometers or 3,000 miles apart. That means it must be far louder than any whale noise, or any other animal noise for that matter. Is it even remotely possible that some big creature bigger than any whale is lurking in the ocean depths? Or perhaps more likely, something that is much more efficient at making sound? What we do know is that the audio file is so mysterious that it inspired pop culture, appearing in everything from short stories by H.P. Lovecraft to mermaid documentaries." Number 7. Australian radio burst. In May 2014, Australian astronomers caught a radio burst that's just recently been reported by the monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society. Melbourne Swinburne University of Technology doctoral student Emily Petrov said, "The burst was identified within 10 seconds of its occurrence. The importance of the discovery was recognized very quickly, and we are all working very excitedly to contact other astronomers and telescopes around the world to look at the location of the burst." While the signal from outer space is likely natural, the source still remains unexplained, with only 8 other radio bursts discovered in astronomical archives. The bursts are said to flash incredibly bright radio waves, with the same amount of energy as the sun releases in an entire day. Some theorize it's a collapsing neutron star, which forms a black hole, while the more supernatural-minded believe it's aliens. The CSIRO Parkes radio telescope was the first telescope in the world to catch a radio burst while it was happening. This should help Petrov's crew to eliminate some theories. Although they weren't able to uncover the blast source this time around, they did cross gamma ray bursts off their list. Number 6. The Satanic DVD. This entry includes not only mysterious audio, but mysterious video. A tech blog in Sweden received a DVD whose delivery made their skin crawl. The cryptic warnings and satanic imagery in the video and audio have sent the people of the internet into a tailspin. First, the video. A human in doctor's garb and a black bird mask and shroud appears in the grainy video, which runs for 2 minutes. The figure gestures, raising its hand, unveiling a blinking light in its right hand. Flashing into the video clip are strings of Morse code that seem to be the coordinates 38.897709, -77.036543. Plug them into Google and you'll find those are the coordinates of the White House. Now to the audio. The audio sounds like nothing but obnoxious screeches. By using a spectrogram, the white noise creates images, including what appears to be tortured or restrained women, and the phrase, "You are already dead." The mysterious video and audio file has an even creepier history. Prior to this most current upload, people have tried to upload it to YouTube twice, with the first account being linked to a user called AETBX. When asked about the video, AETBX said that an acquaintance discovered the original disc in a park outside Spain and sent it to him. Although he may have been the first to upload it to the internet, he claims that he was not the originator of the mysterious file, nor did he send it to the Swedish tech blog. So where did the cryptic file come from? Some suspect it was created for viral purposes. Others claim that it could be a promotional stunt for a marketing campaign. Or could it be something far more nefarious? Number 5. The Boom. The bloop is not the only strange, unexplainable audio to be recorded emanating from the depths of the ocean. An extraordinary boom exploded through the Mariana Trench, producing only a couple seconds of low-frequency moaning at a pitch of 38 Hz, one that swings high to 8,000 Hz in the end. The 1,580-mile-long Mariana Trench is situated between Australia and Japan and is the deepest known section of the ocean, with depths greater than 36,000 feet. The sound was recorded using passive acoustic ocean gliders. These devices travel on their own for several months, sinking to around 1,000 meters. The OSU Hatfield Marine Science Center deemed the mysterious sound the Western Pacific biotwang. Although experts can't be sure what caused the noise, they believe it's a new kind of whale call delivered by baleen whales. Baleen whales, specifically the minke whale species, have mouth plates that help filter krill from the ocean water and may produce the low-frequency pitches of their regional whale calls. Sharon Newkirk, Oregon State Senior Facility Research Assistant in Marine Bioacoustics, says, "It's very distinct, with all these crazy parts. The low-frequency moaning part is typical of baleen whales, and it's that kind of twangy sound that makes it really unique." She further noted that they don't often discover new baleen whale calls. Others, however, think the sound is more alien than whale. And it's also true that baleen whales mate during winter, while the Western Pacific biotwang has been heard and recorded year-round. Newkirk acknowledges that this fact is what makes the call such a mystery. Number 4. Upsweep. This audio file is another of NOAA's underwater mysteries. The unidentified and unexplainable sound was detected on the equatorial anonymous hydrophone arrays. The upsweep was recorded in 1991 when the Pacific Marine Environmental Laboratory first began its sound recording. The upsweep, as it's been termed, is a lengthy course of narrowband sounds that last a few seconds. It's a seasonal sound, with highs in spring and autumn. Scientists don't know whether this is because the environment changes or because the source of this sound changes according to the season. Although a rough estimate puts the source at 54 degrees south, 140 degrees west, which is close to some volcanic seismic activity, the sound's origin remains unclear. The sounds are still being detected, although the level of the source has been in decline since it was first picked up on audio in 1991. Number 3. UVB76. Ever since 1973, reports have been made about a station that broadcasts on the frequency 4,625 kilohertz. The shortwave radio station became known as the buzzer because it sends out a short monotone buzzing sound that repeats over and over again around 25 times each minute, all day long. The tonal patterns have changed on occasion. For instance, in 2003, it briefly alternated to a higher tone before riveting to its previous pattern. The monotonous sound is not only the mystery, however, the buzzer is occasionally interrupted by a Russian voice transmission.
Nikolai, Anna, Ivan, Mikhail, Ivan, Nikolai, Anna, Семерка, Четверка.
The purpose of this mysterious audio file remains up in the air, although lack of evidence never squashes conspiracy theories, being that some transmissions have unveiled names such as Boris, Roman, Olga, Mikhail, Anna, Larissa. Some believe these are the call sign of the station. Others believe there's some other identification code for listeners. Conversations and background noise can often be heard behind the buzzer. This suggests that the buzzing noise is generated by a piece of equipment put in front of a mic, the purpose of which perhaps only the Russian government can confirm, but they won't. Number 2. Whistle. One more mysterious underwater sound uncovered by the NOAA, a whistle. The high-pitched screech recorded in 1997 has been compared to a kettle of boiling water. A single hydrophone picked up the sound, so even the general location of the source is unknown. Unlike some of the other mysterious underwater sounds, the NOAA doesn't theorize that this was caused by an iceberg. Rather, it believes this mysterious audio is from an erupting submarine volcano, or perhaps it's a great underwater creature we've yet to discover, just another mysterious sound below the sea that we'll never be able to explain. Before we get to number 1, my name is Chills and I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you've ever been curious as to what I look like in real life, then follow me on Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT with underscores instead of spaces. I also have a Twitter at YT_chills where I post video updates. I'd really appreciate it if you followed me, and feel free to send me a DM if you have any questions or suggestions. If you'd like to see more of these videos in the future, then hit that subscribe button because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Number 1, backmasking. Backmasking is when audio files are played backwards, revealing a hidden message. The tactic started in the 1960s, with some bands backmasking deliberately. For instance, a section of Pink Floyd's Empty Spaces is jargon when played forward, but produces a secret message when played backwards, stating, "Congratulations, you have just discovered the secret message. Please send your answer to Old Pink, care of the Funny Farm, Chelmsford." However, some perpetrated backmasking could be incidental. Some have said that Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven is actually a stairway to hell when played backwards. Christian lobbyists claim the reverse version is a love letter to the Dark Lord, and that Zeppelin is attempting to enforce some sort of satanic subliminal message. The band has been famously unresponsive to these allegations, but their recording company, Swan Song Records, did issue the following statement: "Our turntables only play in one direction, forwards." However, the whole thing could be chalked up to pareidolia. Pareidolia is when people follow familiar patterns and connections in sounds, causing them to interpret audio stimuli incorrectly. The question is, did playing Stairway to Heaven backwards produce these familiar patterns, or was the audio truly a love letter to Satan from the band? Perhaps Zeppelin will take that one to the grave. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of our other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy!